The Rich Man and His Son. Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by golden fields and emerald forests, lived a wealthy merchant named Arman. His wealth was vast. He owned ships that sailed across the seas, fields that stretched for miles, and a mansion that towered over the town. But despite his prosperity, Arman was known to be a man of ambition, always striving for more. His only son, Rohan, however, was different. He was kind-hearted, content with the simpler things in life, and often seen helping the villagers or sitting by the river, lost in thought. One day, as Arman sat in his grand study, counting his treasures and planning his next great venture, he called for Rohan. "My son," he said, "you are soon to inherit all that I have built. But you must understand something: the world is not kind to the weak. You must be sharp, quick-witted, and hungry for success. Only then will you survive in this world." Rohan, looking out the window at the setting sun, nodded but remained silent. He had often heard his father's speeches about wealth and power, but his heart told him there was more to life than just material gain. Later that week, Arman decided to teach his son a lesson. He gave Rohan a large sum of money and said, "Go to the city and invest wisely. I'll know whether you are truly ready to take over my business by how you handle this opportunity." Rohan took the money and set off, but instead of rushing to invest, he wandered through the bustling streets of the city. There, he saw a poor man struggling to carry heavy sacks of grain. Without a second thought, Rohan stepped forward and helped the man, carrying his sacks to his humble home. The man thanked him and offered him food, but Rohan politely declined and continued his journey. Later, as Rohan walked through the marketplace, he saw a woman crying in front of a stall. Her child was sick, and she didn't have enough money to buy medicine. Without hesitation, Rohan used the money his father had given him to purchase the medicine and handed it to her, telling her not to worry. He then left, quietly continuing on his way. Finally, after a few days, Rohan returned home with nothing but stories of his encounters and the people he had helped. His father, Arman, was waiting for him in his study. "Did you make the investment?" he asked, his voice stern. Rohan nodded. "Yes, father, I did. But not in the way you might have expected. I invested in kindness. In helping people when I saw they needed it." Arman, stunned, shook his head. "You've wasted the money, Rohan. You don't understand. The world is about power, wealth, and control. People like us must keep climbing the ladder, not giving our resources away." Rohan stood tall. "Father, I believe true wealth is not just in gold or land, but in the goodwill you create in the world. The poor man will remember my help, the woman will remember the medicine I gave her for her child, and I've learned more about the world than any gold coin could teach me." Arman was silent for a moment, a deep frown creasing his brow. But as the days passed, he couldn't shake the thought of his son's words. He began to notice something remarkable. The merchant he had helped by carrying the sacks of grain now had more customers. The woman whose child was sick had found work and was able to pay for the medicine. People who Rohan had helped spoke highly of his generosity, and his reputation in the town grew stronger. As time went on, Arman began to realize that his son's approach to life was not foolish but wise. Rohan had invested in relationships, in kindness, and in the hearts of people, things that would last far longer than mere gold. One evening, as the sun set over the fields, Arman sat beside his son, looking out at the horizon. "Rohan," he said, his voice softer than before, "perhaps there is more to this world than just wealth. Maybe true riches lie in giving." Rohan smiled and nodded. "Father, I've learned from you how to build wealth, but now I'm teaching you how to build something even more valuable, a legacy of love and kindness." And from that day forward, Arman and Rohan worked together, not just to grow their wealth, but to enrich the lives of those around them. For in their hearts, they both understood that the true measure of a man's success is not what he accumulates, but what he gives away.